Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blissful Living Podcast. It's Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, known as the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. And I'm so grateful to be here with you all today. I hope you're having an amazing day. I like to say, if you like the show, please subscribe to the show and share it with everyone you love and care about. So do that right now. While I also tell you that it's the perfect time to find a place to sit, relax, take some time for yourself, get something to write with. Tell your family to give you a few moments, get your favorite beverage. I'm drinking water today, and allow yourself to really engage and embrace the information that's going to be shared on today's show. And today we're going to talk about how to create a life of legacy with Rabbi Daniel Cohen. So while you're doing that, let me take care of business, and I want to thank our sponsors. Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. This is a site you definitely want to go to if you're looking to improve your wellness, your wisdom, mindset, and or your wealth. They utilize the principles of Ayurveda to help you elevate, whether it's your personal life or your business, and so that all of it has wellness, wisdom, and wealth to give you sustainability as you move forward on your journey, or as they say, your path to bliss. If you're curious, go ahead and check them out. Take the dosha quiz at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. Now, our next sponsor is All Day Cable Incorporated. All Day Cable Incorporated is a woman-owned telecommunications installation company located in the heart of Silicon Valley. They've been in business. This is their 35th year in business. Imagine being in business for that long. And they specialize in installing network infrastructure, so voice, data, fiber optic cabling for sure, and all things network distribution, routers, modems, access points, all of that good stuff. And they service small, medium, and very large corporations. So if you're looking for a phenomenal telecommunications installation company, that is the premier company on the West Coast, then you want to check out All Day Cable Inc. at alldaycableinc.com. Okay, so let me tell you about today's guest. Our guest today is Rabbi Daniel Cohen. And he is a popular motivator, mentor, and inspirational speaker with a unique blend of authenticity, humor, wisdom, and insight, which helps anyone better navigate contemporary society and lead a life of legacy. I love that. Now, Rabbi Cohen has served in the rabbinate for over 20 years and is the author of What Will They Say About You When You're Gone? And creating a life of legacy, and his newest book, The Secret of Life. And so today our topic is how to create a life of legacy. So, hi, Rabbi. Welcome to Blissful Living for You.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
It's good to have you. Thank you for saying yes. I want to jump right into the conversation because I'm loving the just creating a life of legacy. It's such a beautiful, harmonistic, and energetic sentence, so to speak. So, how do you stay positive in a world that's filled with chaos and inspire others in a world also filled with anxiety, uncertainty, and untrust?
First of all, I think it's a great question. That's one of the questions that I get most often. And I'm a big believer. I think, in many ways, what life is all about is not living in the past or worrying about the future, but it's really living in the moment that we're experiencing right now. One of the stories that I think about a lot is at the height of COVID, there was a 94-year-old Italian man who was on a ventilator for a number of days. Thank God he survived. And on his way out of the hospital, he was given the bill for a ventilator for one day. And he began to cry. And the doctor said to him, "Are you crying because you can't pay the bill?" And he said, "I have all the money that's needed, but I've been breathing God's air for free for 94 years. And now I know how much one day's breath is worth."
Oh, wow.
And I share that with you because I believe in my heart of hearts that every morning when I wake up, God is saying, "I love you, I believe in you, and you can make this world a better place." No matter how challenging the world may be, we don't have to lament the darkness. but every one of us can bring a little bit of order to a world of chaos, healing to a place of hurt, and light in place of darkness. And when you wake up in the morning, not worrying and thinking, what do I want, but what does God want of me? That he invested me with this new life and breath. Your world is radically uplifted, and the impact you can have is exponentially much greater.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love the visualization. So, my background is in emergency room trauma nurse and flight nurse. I have had many of occasions of having to assist with getting people on ventilators. And, you know, in that setting, you do what you need to do to try to save someone's life, but you never think about the costs. Right?
Yeah.
And when you said that now that 94-year-old man knows the cost of what a breath is, it's a game changer because we don't ever really put we don't put things into context like that. You know what I mean? And it's a gift to be able, however many thousands, because I know it was thousands, at least 5 figures for that one day. But we don't understand the value so often of what a breath, our next breath, is costing or going to do for us or going to do for someone else. So by you sharing this light, this beautiful words of wisdom, and give us a visualization of it, I bet right now a lot of people listening to us are like, wow, next time I take a breath, I'm gonna I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna think about what I'm doing and how I'm spending my energy and where I'm putting my energy, because that has a lot to do with how we evolve and ebb and flow as we move forward. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Wow. I'm just getting chills. Okay. So now with regards to, and I want to stay with the anxiety and uncertainty because, right now in our world, particularly, I don't know where people are in the world, but here in the United States, we're experiencing some challenges with the shutdown of our government. And so there are a lot of people that are living with anxiety and uncertainty. They're not getting paid, yet they still have their expenses, daily living expenses, that they need to take care of. Can you share some words of wisdom or bring some light into them, into their eyes, into their hopes, into their essence about how to navigate this particular time that we're going through, whether you're in the United States or around the world, in a much more compassionate and loving manner?
Yeah. So again, you're asking really good questions. I'll address it really from two ways. One who is kind of looking into a world where they may have the blessings and they're not affected by it, but also thinking about those that are affected by it. So I think one of the things that we oftentimes don't ask, we very often ask, why did this happen to me in a moment of crisis? When somebody experiences a challenge, gets sick, why did this happen? Why did you do this to me? Well, we don't oftentimes ask that question in a place of abundance. Why did you bless me with this wealth? Why did you bless me with this family? Why did you bless me with these talents? And I believe that when all of us who may have been blessed, thank God, ask that question more frequently, we'll realize that we are not dams. Dams just collect blessings. We're rivers. We all have the ability to allow these blessings to flow. So in a moment like right now where there are more people that are experiencing anxiety, maybe they need food, those that are blessed with this abundance, ask the question more frequently. We actually in our city, for the third year in a row, are doing a Stanford Kindness Project. And it was initiated by a lot of things that I wrote in my book, but it's all over the city of Stanford. And one of the things that we're doing next week is we're asking people when they go to the local supermarkets to buy one thing extra and place it in a box that will be outside the supermarkets to help people who need food. And here's the beauty of it. If you have a lot of people doing a little thing, it ends up being a lot. Imagine if everyone in every community decided, because of the shutdown, every time I go in the supermarket, I will leave there with one thing extra for another family. The crisis will be much more diminished.
Right.
So I think having that realization that a small thing done with a lot of people makes a difference, and also knowing that we've been blessed with the abundance, we are really entrusted to help other people. So I think that's an important message during this time. For those that are experiencing their own anxiety and despair, I would say the greatest road to lifting that is find a way to help somebody else. Even in the moment when we can retreat because of our own anxiety, if we're able to move beyond that and say, you know what, maybe I am struggling, but I have my hands, I have my legs, I have my smile. I'm going to go out there and maybe it's volunteer somewhere at a homeless shelter. At least I have a home. I'm going to volunteer. The person will find that they'll become more grateful for the position that they're in right now, even though they may be struggling. And they'll really feel that, rather than again lament my own challenges, I've actually made today into a day that I brought some new light into the world. And that will put a bounce in their step, and that will certainly lift their spirits.
Wow. Wow. We have to take a break, real quick break. And I'm way over break time, but this is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Okay. That's why you should subscribe to the show. We'll be right back to the Blissful Living Podcast in just a few moments. Stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the Blissful Living Podcast. It's Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, with Rabbi Daniel Cohen, and we just are having a beautiful conversation. Before we took the break, I love what you said, that if you're in a state right now where you're struggling or you're downtrodden, so to speak, and when you look at yourself, if you can just do something for someone else, maybe go to a homeless shelter, or maybe, if you buy a sandwich, if you have that, kind of means, or make a sandwich, share half with someone else, or, whatever it is, it kind of takes you out of your pit of despair, that disparate energy for just a few moments, and allows you to focus on helping someone else. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing, because when you're helping others, it brings light to love and light into your heart. And it kind of diminishes the challenges that you may be facing. I know I've experienced that a lot in the emergency department, where you go to work and you may have had a horrible day, or just had an argument with your spouse or whatever. And you step in the moment you step into going to work and to help someone else, whatever happened before that wasn't good, is you don't even think about it. It's a beautiful thing. So
Yeah.
Rabbi, sharing is really true. Now, I want to ask you this. What do you mean by reverse engineering your life, and why is it so important to do? I've heard that term for a long time, but I want you to share, what do you mean when you say reverse engineer your life?
So what I mean is this. As a rabbi, I oftentimes confront people in their last hours or last days of life. And, in those moments, or a moment when somebody experiences a loss of somebody else, we gain a clarity that we oftentimes rarely have when we know what really matters. I've been in rooms where a person is surrounded by family, and it's the greatest joy, even though they're nearing the end of their life, because they know their legacy will live on. And I've been in places where nobody's visiting because of decisions that were made where there was a breakdown in the family. And that's a moment of clarity. Reverse engineering is really giving somebody the tools to really try to think, what can I do now to be more intentional about leading a life that is reflective not of what my body wants me to do, but what my soul wants me to do. It's about thinking proactively, not to wait to a crisis to get serious about life, but rather realize that every day is an unpolished diamond, that God is asking me to radiate some light from that diamond. Then when I go to sleep, that diamond's gone. And how much light did I radiate? Thinking about every day, and I see this a lot, like I'll sit with families to help prepare for a funeral. And I'll give you an example. And I'll say to them, tell me about your mother and your father. And in about 20 to 30 minutes, it's amazing what stories emerge from these conversations. A number of years ago, I had a funeral with a woman, and I met with her two daughters. And I said to one of the daughters, who was 50 years old, can you tell me, I'd love you to speak about your mom. And the woman said to me, I didn't have a great relationship with my mom. I don't think I want to speak. When we got to the cemetery, I asked her again, and she said to me, I actually have two memories I want to share, and this is one of them. I'll never forget when I was 8 years old. My mother came up to my room and said, honey, It's snowing outside. Let's go outside and play. And here's a woman who is 50 years old, and the memory that stood out for her was one of unconditional love and spontaneity from her mother. So what is reverse engineering? That means that we have to be more unconditional with our love. We have to be more spontaneous about creating unforgettable moments for children or for family members. And when we lead life with that intentionality, we'll make sure that our days aren't fleeting, but as often as possible, we'll create moments that are worthy of future memory.
Wow, I love it. I love it. It's interesting. I think no matter where you are, where you come from, what experiences you had, good, bad, or indifferent, when you really, and I want to say particularly the ones that you deem as bad experiences, when you really step back and look at that experience as if you're watching a movie, you realize that there's so much you could have done, and there was so much that you actually learned from that moment. And so you share the story with the lady who didn't really have anything to say about her mom. But then when you guys got to the cemetery, what she did say, that one memory that she wanted to share was that of unconditional love. And so when you think about it, it's like now she's fully understanding the context of what having unconditional love is, because now she was able to forget all that stuff that may have happened with her and her mom for that one beautiful moment. And that light will stay with her forever. So I just think, the life, it's chaos. No one ever said it was going to be easy, on this plane, right? Look at all the biblical writings, whether you're Christian or Jewish or, Islam, Muslim or whatever it is, in all of those writings, it never said that life here on this plane was going to be easy. It's a journey. And so we have to embrace the journey and use what we can from our journey to create the legacy that we want to leave behind, right? So I just, oh my gosh. Okay. So now, Elijah. I had a nephew named Elijah. What is an
Good
Elijah
name.
moment? Yeah, well, unfortunately, he got hit by a car in San Francisco, a wrong way driver when he was on one of those motorized scooters in 2024.
This
And
is your
died.
nephew?
Eli, my beautiful nephew Elijah
I'm so sorry to
died of
hear.
it. Yeah, but what I don't think of that part when I say his name. I think of the beautiful kid he was, the beautiful soul he was. So, what is an Elijah moment? What is it? Yeah.
So, Elijah moment. He was a prophet in the Bible. Most importantly, he's somebody that comes into somebody's life to give them kind of a good word or strength when they need it most. And when I think about the Elijah moment, it's written in a story about a young man who went to a mystic and said to him, "I want to see Elijah the prophet." And the mystic said to him, "Go into the forest. There's a widow there with children. Go there for the Sabbath, for the weekend. Bring some food, and I promise you'll see Elijah the prophet." So he goes Friday night, Saturday, no Elijah. He comes back to the mystic on Sunday and says, "You promised me I would see Elijah." The mystic says, "Do the exact same thing. And I promise you this week you'll see Elijah." So he takes the food. It's Friday afternoon. He's within earshot of the home. And he hears a child crying out to the mother saying, "Mommy, where are we going to get food from for this Sabbath, for this weekend?" And the mother turns to the child and says, "Just like Elijah came last week, Elijah's going to come again." And in that moment, he realized that he was the Elijah that this woman was
Wow.
waiting for. So discovering your Elijah moment means that we can't change the world, but we have the capacity to change the world of one person every day. That no encounter is random, it's by divine design. And if I can ensure that somebody leaves my orbit feeling better about themselves than when they entered my orbit, I can be their Elijah. Mark Twain says the two most important days of your life are the day when you're born and the day when you understand why. And the more that we recognize those moments, the more that our lives are filled with really igniting new light that we never know where it's going to go. And God puts us in this situation. I'll give you one example. Like I was at a Philadelphia train station a number of years ago, and an older gentleman comes over to me, and I guess I look like a generous guy. He said, "Would you mind buying me dinner?" So I said to him, "How about the Dunkin' Donuts over here?" And he looked at me and he said, "I prefer the Cajun food. Would you mind?" So I, so I said to him, "Okay, okay, the Cajun food's fine. It wasn't a big deal." So I buy him the food, and he's eating, and I'm ready to go. And I say to him, "What's your name?" He said his name is Sam. And I said to him, "Sam, God bless you." And Sam turned to me and said, "God has already blessed me. He sent me you."
Oh, wow.
Because I was his Elijah in that
Aisha,
moment.
yeah. I
And
love
those opportunities are all over the place.
I love it. We got to take another quick break, but we'll be right back to the Blissful Living Podcast in just a few moments. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Blissful Living Podcast. It's the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, with Rabbi Daniel Cohen. And we just got through talking about the Elijah moment. And it's beautiful because one of the things I learned, I think I may have learned this in nursing school many, 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 many years ago. But I had a nursing professor, who was an older lady, and I'm pretty sure she's passed away. She probably was like 70, and this was in the late 80s. So anyways, she would say, "You never know whose life you will change just by smiling at them." And we were doing our psychiatric rotation. And so I thought about that, and I thought about it, and it stuck with me. And it's true. You never know whose life you may change just by smiling. Coming in and out of Walmart, you smile at someone. That person might have went into
It's
Walmart
true.
to get something to kill themselves, but because you smiled at them and they saw the light in you, they had their Elisha moment. They went home and did something more. They didn't kill themselves or whatever the case may be. And so beautiful, beautiful, because again, it helps us to create this beautiful legacy that, we want to be thought of as beautiful people, kind, giving, loving, not the other, opposites of all of those. So I love, love, love that. Okay. What do you mean when you say we must make courageous choices? I'm thinking people out there are saying, "I make courageous choices all day, every day." What do you mean by that?
Well, I don't mean like when you go into a Starbucks and say, "I want a tall latte, hot, medium, this and that," like that. Most people think their most significant choices are what kind of coffee they get in the morning. But really believe that the most important choices are the choices that we make in life that are based upon principle, not based upon pressure. Warren Buffett said many years ago, it takes 20 years to build a reputation. It takes 5 minutes to destroy a reputation.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, King Solomon says, better to have a good name than all the wealth in the world. And courageous choices means that I recognize that every choice that I make is a way actually that I'm fortifying, who I am and who I want to be. And it's not always easy to do that. The person that he wrote the foreword for the book was I would say, a deeply courageous politician. He was a friend of mine, Senator Joseph Lieberman. And he said, when I was talking to him, he said, "I don't want to be remembered for playing life safe. I want to be remembered for doing what's right." And I think when we can lead lives where people can say, like, this is not a trivial thing. You could say, he was a person who never said a bad word. That's pretty big.
Yeah, it's
He was a
huge.
person or she you could always count on. That's because of small, what I consider courageous decisions where, and this is an important point, to develop that personality, we need to know what our values are. One of the challenges is if I'm in a morally ambiguous moment, if I don't know what my values are, then I'm going to weigh the risk benefits of what I'm doing. Well, if I don't get caught and all that, but that's not what life's about. If I know what my values are, then I can look at decisions through the prism of who am I, and either it fits with who I am or it doesn't fit with who I am. And, when thinking about a life of legacy, those small choices that we make, those moral choices, are really the fabric of leading a truly courageous and great life.
Wow, I love that. Again, wonderful words of wisdom that we can take forward and really implement into our lives today and really understand that now the choices that we make, we should be taking courageous choices, as many of them as possible, because it's just a wonderful thing to do. Now, I want to ask this question of you. How can we create moments that endure? And, when you say endure, what exactly do you mean by that?
One of the most important conceptions in life is a recognition. King Solomon says this in Ecclesiastes. He says, "Cast your bread upon the waters, and one day it'll return." Meaning the way to emulate the divine in this world is through acts of kindness without expectation of anything in return. We live in a world that's very transactional. But at the end
Mhm.
of the day, if I see that even within a few seconds, I can lift somebody up, I can do a kind deed. I do these in elevators. Why does everyone stand in an elevator like so serious? Like, good morning,
I
everybody.
know.
How you doing? Offer a prayer. Like each and every one of us should be what I call a lamplighter. Just go out, spread your light, and then you actually never know where it's going to go. I mean, that's
Yes.
really what I mean by endure, because it's interesting. I'll give you a beautiful story. One of the things that we do in our community are encouraging these Elijah moments through acts of kindness, and not even random, but just putting your light out there. So a woman wrote into me and she said, you'd appreciate this. I'm a NODA nurse at Stanford Hospital. NODA means no one dies alone. And she talked about the fact that she was with a patient near the end of his life, and she was serving him ice cream, and he passed. Over days he passed away, and she was talking to her family about this experience, that she felt very connected to this patient, and her family said to her, "This person's father, who you cared for at the end of his life, was the OBGYN who brought you into this world decades ago." So
Wow.
here you have an act of one human being bringing somebody into the world. God takes that light, and then decades later, she takes that light and helps this person's child.
Wow.
So, I mean, I've seen that so many times in my life because, I was with a person who was talking about how she was a rookie teacher, and she said she'll never forget one of the seasoned teachers spent a week with her, just helping her become the best teacher she could be. And I said, yeah, and because of that 1 week, you have now touched thousands of students. That's the way this woman endures. For her, it was 1 week of time mentoring a young teacher. The endurance is now she has become a great teacher for all these thousands of students. Don't
Right.
worry about the end game. Just do what you can in this moment to lift somebody up.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. We have got to take one more quick break. We'll be right back to the Blissful Living Podcast in just a few moments. All righty. We are back with Rabbi Daniel Cohen, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful conversation. I'm just loving and I feel just like, oh, I'm in an awe moment. Now, I know you have something that you want to share. Talk about a book and things of that nature. What would you like to share with the audience with regards to maybe your next book, or how can they pick up your book or your newest book, The Secret of Light? Share a little bit of information about that.
Sure. So if you want more information, you can go on my website, rabbidanielcohen.com. You can access the book there or on Amazon. And really, my goal in life is to inspire people to live life at the highest frequency possible. So if you also go on the website, I started an academy called the Legacy Academy, where I help people virtually, individually, and in groups really create that intentionality around their life. So it's like a 10-month program, but it's a way to take the messages of the book and really to be much more mindful about how do we lead that life. And I'm right now in the midst of another book right now, which is called Rising Higher, written with a good friend, Alan Houston, who played for the Knicks. He's a close friend. And the idea behind the book is rising higher, living above the net. It's principles for living rooted in stories from soulful athletes that kind of amplify these values.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, so now mention your website one more time.
www.rabbi, Daniel Cohen, Cohen.com.
Okay, so there you have it. You can pick up a copy of Rabbi Daniel Cohen's book, The Secret of Light. You can engage and find out more about him on his website and the program he just shared, the information about that. You can share his information via this podcast interview with those you love and care about, and heck, even those you don't love and care about, because you never know. You may actually have to share in the show. They like you. You know, you might like it. You know, evolve, whatever it is. But thank you so much for gracing us and sharing time.
My pleasure.
Today. It's been a very beautiful, enlightening conversation. And to all of you out there, excuse me, listening, watching, viewing us, wherever you may be, please listen to this show again. I'm going to say listen to it 10 times, but I know that might be too much for many of you. But if you listen to it again, you're going to hear something different that you're meant to receive. You're going to get a different message because you're going to be in a different space to receive. And I'm a believer that we could hear the same messages 10 times, but every time we hear it, there's something different that comes out of it that is meant for us so that we can grow and evolve and become beautiful human beings on this planet. Okay, I am Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson. I want to thank our sponsors, Blissful Living For You at blissfullivingforyou.com, as well as All Day Cable Inc. at alldaycableinc.com. And today, as in every day, I'm with you. I'm wishing you peace to your mind, wellness to your body, and tranquility to your spirit. May you go out and have your Elijah moments and be that light for someone that might just be living in darkness that you don't know about. Until next time, be healthy, be well, and stay fabulous. Bye for now.